The massive hypocrisy and weakness of anti-vax Adventists. So just yesterday, as probably many of you know, the Seventh-day Adventist Liberty and Health Alliance hosted a live stream official release right here of their global appeal to church leadership featuring Dr. Ben Carson, and it already has about 13,000 views on their YouTube and about 4,000 views on Facebook, which for the audience and topic is really good. Those are really good stats. And check this out, as of right now, a whopping 9,900, almost 10,000 total people who have signed the appeal, including myself, with over 600 pastors and 1,800 medical professionals. Now, I want you to notice that this group of people has a massive weakness, a massive Achilles heel and hypocrisy. And before I tell you, know that I agree. I also signed this document, and everyone should sign this. However, there is a huge problem. This group of people is arguing that on the topic of the jab, the Adventist Church should be speaking against the greatest immediate threat of government mandates of the jab and penalties for non-compliance. That we must stand up for liberty of conscience, both for ourselves and for who? For others. The appeal claims that the church has a duty, quote, to vigorously protect religious and civil liberties for its members and others. You will notice that church leaders, especially in the religious liberty department, have for many years gone out of their way to vigorously fight and litigate for religious freedoms of Hindus and Buddhists and Muslims and atheists, but now they are rejecting their own church members. They have helped everyone else, but they are not going to help you, and let me tell you the reason why. For over 30 years, for decades, the Adventist Church has officially and very publicly taught that violently killing a little child by abortion is itself a sacred religious liberty. Church leaders are so serious about this that they appealed to the Supreme Court that killing children should be legal for religious reasons. Now, one form of abortion when the child is too big is to inject the baby with digoxin. The baby is alive and healthy, and they stick a needle in there and inject the baby with digoxin in order to kill the baby. Once the baby is dead, they either induce labor to expel the dead child, or they dismember it piece by piece using forceps. Many Seventh-day Adventists today are all upset that the government is mandating the jab, and they are really upset that the church will not defend them, and their argument is that according to our fundamental beliefs, our concept of health is informed by Scripture, and therefore we have a religious freedom not to inject ourselves based on one's conviction. The big problem is, how can we Adventists claim that it is a religious freedom not to be jabbed when we have literally taught for over 30 years that it is a religious freedom to forcefully jab and even kill little children? We Adventists are making completely opposite claims. This is schizophrenia. Either it is religious freedom to jab and kill others, or it is not. We can't have it both ways. When little boys and girls are deliberately, violently killed, Adventists will make every possible lame excuse why we should not speak up and say something. But now, suddenly, surprise that you are going to lose your job. Now, suddenly, that you are going to lose your schooling or benefits. Suddenly, Adventists are all upset and concerned about religious liberty and have something to say. When this happened to 50 million children every year for decades, you tried to turn the other way and ignore this genocide or even defend it. But now that it's your turn to get the jab, suddenly you don't like it very much. The problem is that we Adventists have allowed this perverted definition of religious liberty to stand within our church unchallenged for over 30 years. And suddenly, because now it's your turn to get stabbed, you don't like that church leaders are rejecting you. But the truth is that the Adventist church leadership is correct. They are correct not to give you any exemption and not to help you. Now, I hate this as much as you do, but church leaders are correctly operating within the definition that you let stand for over 30 years. If it's okay to forcefully jab and kill children, then it's okay to forcefully jab you. This is about the definition and meaning of religious freedom. You can't be switching your definitions to suit your situation. God demands of us a true and consistent witness. Ask yourself the question, how? How can God bless when you show more concern for yourself than you do for the witness of His church? How can you be more concerned about the public teachings of the church about the jab, but not about killing children? I have for many years been calling and pleading for my fellow brother and sister Adventists to contact church leaders and protest this perverted definition of religious liberty. But people have called me a weirdo, a wacko, a fanatic, unhinged, unbalanced, crazy extremist. All of my arguments, however, are based upon documented historical facts, upon established medical science, and upon the infallible scriptures. My arguments are irrefutable, but people still want to make every possible lame, gutless, cowardly excuse why they don't have to speak up for the little children. Well, now those tables have turned. Now those chickens have come home to roost. Now it's your turn. In 2010, an artist presented in a gallery a man with a noose around his neck watering a little tree. As you can see, eventually that tree will grow and hang him. And this is a really good representation of Adventists watering the diabolical, satanic claims that stabbing, torturing, and violently killing children is a religious freedom. We've been watering this for decades, and you are just now getting a small taste of what that means. 10,000 people have signed the document. Do you realize, take a moment to realize how difficult it is to get just 10 Adventists to oppose abortion within the church. Over 600. Are you kidding me? Over 600 pastors are now protesting this. Do you realize what would have happened if just half that number protested our church's support for child murder? Over 1,000, count them, over 1,800 medical professionals are so brave now. But where was your boldness for the last 30 plus years? Where was your voice then? Everybody is so bold and so brave now when you are going to lose your job, when you are going to lose your school. But when little children are going to violently lose their lives, oh, Andrew, I don't feel called to do something about this. Oh, Andrew, this isn't part of the three angels' messages. I've been told that leaders are anointed by God and that we should just pray that God will move on their hearts. But you notice something? Notice what's happening right now with the jab. Suddenly, they claim that prayer is not enough. Oh no, we need to speak out. You see that? How many of these 600 pastors have complained about Allred? How many of these medical professionals have disputed the unscientific, dehumanizing, diabolical claims of our church that little children are not living human beings until after they are born? For over 30 years, you couldn't be bothered with this, and it's not your calling. It's not the three angels' messages. You said, we don't want to look like Catholics or evangelicals. Oh my! And that makes a really good point. Village SDA Church hosted a whole weekend on this, brought in all types of speakers, including this guy right here. He's not an Adventist, but we were told that we need to listen to him even on the Sabbath day because he's a professional. When was the last time we invited an outside speaker to talk about abortion? We won't even listen to speakers about that within our own church. Suddenly, the village church is so brave and bold to upset top church leaders and host a weekend about the perversion of religious liberty, to force the jab. But when was the last time the village or any SDA church hosted a weekend about abortion? Well, that's right. They haven't. The number one most talked about moral issue in our society for decades, and we hear nothing. Now, you told me that Ted Wilson, oh, Andrew, he's anointed of God. You told me Mark Finley is anointed of God. You people, you have told me for years that all of your favorite speakers, all of your favorite leaders, they are preaching the truth. Well, okay, if according to all your favorite speakers and church leaders, it should be legal to forcefully jab and kill children, then it should be legal to forcefully jab you.